both the Barn Burner and ZingoTV app in the respective app store on iOS and Android. And ZingoTV, they're also available on Roku Sticks, Amazon Fire TV Sticks, Google Chromecast, and all smart TVs 2016 and forward. Welcome to the wrestling show. We got, hopefully, Erin Stevens returning, and we got a debut here. You're going to watch her for years to come, hopefully in WWE TV, hopefully in AEW and Impact Wrestling. One of these big organizations, I know everybody's watching me right now, one of these big organizations come, and I'm not going to pronounce your name. You're going to introduce yourself, okay? So go ahead, introduce yourself.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And hey, everyone, my name is Ksenia. I'm the newest face here at Barn Burner, and I'm a wrestling journalist and YouTuber.
All right, and of course, Giancarlo Alino. We're going to be joined by Erin Stevens in just a couple seconds, but let's talk about the biggest thing that happened in the wrestling world. It happened last night. The return, and this is why Giancarlo got a haircut, okay? The return of Sting. All right, Giancarlo, let's start off with you. Unmute yourself. Sting returning this time to AEW. What did you think?
I thought it was like a full circle thing. I think Sting and TNT are synonymous with each other. WCW was a franchise there, and I think WWE wasn't really using him, even though he was on a Legends deal. He wasn't really at those reunion type things. I think he didn't really fit anymore unless he was doing a DVD deal. So him going to AEW, I think there's more possibilities for him. I think it's a perfect fit for him at this point of his life. And as long as he's not getting in the ring, because he is 61 years old, I would hate to see him get injured, but I think it's perfect for AEW right now.
All right. What did you think, Xenia?
Yeah, he also never struck me as a WWE guy, even though he did have a contract. And I do feel like it's an amazing time at this point in the world of wrestling with all the, COVID thing and stuff. And a perfect point in his career to appear in AEW. It felt big. It was a great, thing to draw the crowd to AEW this week. He's gonna boost some merch sales. He's gonna, turn the attention of some old school fans to AEW. So it was a smart decision all around for every party to have him on.
And Sting, by the way, broke the one-day record of AEW in T-shirt sales. So he's already paying off, right? And he signed a multi-year deal till he's like 91 years old. That's when he's going to really get out of AEW contract. But also, let's start off for you, Xenia. A big thing happened at the end of the show. We got a new heavyweight champion, but, oh, wow, two leagues, I'm going to say leagues, working together. Wow, what an interesting concept. One league, another league working together. Wow, can let everybody know about it.
Yeah, so now AEW and Impact are obviously working together, and it didn't come as much of a shocker because we know that AEW has been working with NWA, with certain Asian promotions. They have been teasing certain things, with New Japan and stuff. So it wasn't a shocker in itself, but having AEW turn to Impact for Superstar Exchange was really something that got a pop out of me personally and people that I was watching with. I feel like in this again Corona era of wrestling, Impact surprisingly has been getting more and more viewers. They have regained the attention of viewers who have maybe abandoned them for a while, and they have put on several amazing shows. So I think it's going to benefit both companies, and most of all the women's divisions of both companies, because Impact, well, arguably, but I think most people will agree with me when I say that Impact has the best women's division in the world. So it would be really interesting to see them work with AEW's women's division. So I'm really excited for that.
That's a great point. And in fact, that's a knockout point, okay? Impact's ladies division's called knockout. That's what we were talking, Giancarlo, before we went to air. Knockout division, that's what AEW needs. Because, I'm going to be honest, do you even know who Impact Wrestling heavyweight champion is? Xenia, do you know?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head right now.
Giancarlo, do you know?
Is it still Rich Swann or Eric Young?
Yes.
One of those two?
It's Rich Swann. Rich Swann is the heavyweight champion for Impact Wrestling. Also, Moose is sort of the TNA champion and all that, should be. But Rich Swann, come on. Rich Swann, it should be like a cruiserweight. No offense to him. He's a good wrestler, but come on. But what do you expect, Giancarlo? I'll start off with you. What do you expect from this sort of merger there? Do you expect them to be full-time working together, or do you think this is a one night or maybe 1 month deal?
I hope it's a long-term thing. I think could even be a pathway to New Japan Pro Wrestling, because Impact on Access TV, maybe they can see that, okay, Japan will see that there's two promotions now. It's not just dealing with one. So they'll probably be a little bit more open to it. So I think this makes that a possibility. You can have guys go from back and forth from different shows. We're already going to see Kenny Omega make his first appearance as a world champ. It's going to be on Impact and not on Dynamite. And there's a lot of guys there, like Ken Shamrock, who he's technically suspended from Impact. So maybe we can see him stroll in on Dynamite and go after the Dark Order. I think that would be interesting. So a lot of interactions that could be made there.
All right. The star of the show, other than myself, has come in. All right. The star, Giancarlo, you got to bow down. Respect him, because he's a karate champion there. Okay. Aaron Stevens.
My old gimmick. No. We're not Karate Man anymore.
All right.
Black belt sent to the Salvation Army or the Goodwill.
All right, Aaron, I want to introduce you all the way from Russia. What time is it in Russia right now?
3 a.m.
Call it dedication. 3 a.m. You know what Giancarlo's doing at 3 a.m.? Cutting his hair. That's what he's doing.
That's commitment. That's 3 a.m. is commitment. So that's the star of the show.
All right. So Xenia, her name's Xenia. Xenia, do you have any questions right away? I'm going to put you to work. Do you have any questions for Aaron Stevens?
Yeah, I do have a question, actually. We know that you work on the inside of the wrestling business, per se, and talking about the merger or the collaboration that has newly merged with Impact and AEW, do you feel like it's a good thing for wrestling companies to start working together very closely and to start, this whole globalization of wrestling, so to speak, or is it a bad thing in long term?
No, I think it's a great thing. I think now, especially like where you have one dominant company, and by dominant, I mean you have their kind of like the standard. They've been around for the longest time. We're talking about WWE. And where WWE is a very like in-house operation where they don't want to acknowledge that any other company exists. And they've just kind of operated like that for quite some time. I think that if you subscribe to their business model, they will always kind of come out on top. But now with other companies kind of working together, this is something we haven't seen in quite some time. And I think it's thinking outside the box that's actually going to create a lot of opportunity for both the wrestlers themselves and for the fans. So I think wrestling is going to be very interesting in 2021.
Any follow-up?
Piggybacking off of that, it's interesting how, like, not to self-promote, but I have a video that I made before AEW even started, where I said that for wrestling to, come to this new step, they need to be more open to collaborations, open to other forms of media, and we see many wrestlers transition into acting, and you, Aaron, personally as well. And we saw Sasha Banks in Mandalorian and such things. But do you feel like WWE, that big dominant company, as you yourself said, will ever be open to a similar pattern of collaboration with other companies?
You never say never. And I think the answer to that question is if it's good for them, they will do it. And by that, I mean, that's not a knock on WWE. That's just, they're corporate 101, and if it makes money and it doesn't hurt their brand, they will do it.
Okay, so Aaron, I got to ask you a question. Have you ever wrestled in Russia?
Yes, been to Moscow and St. Petersburg. It is a beautiful, beautiful country. Got its Kremlin and, I believe the ship, which was.
I think Putin is interfering there. So you're cutting out a little bit, Aaron. I think Putin was interfering. Sorry. All right. Well, Aaron will be back in a second. So, Giancarlo, let's go to you 1 second. I know Aaron's coming back here or whatever, but you were finishing off the merger with Impact Wrestling AEW. Who do you think it benefits the most?
Oh, I think Impact 100%. I think now everyone's talking about Impact now. Like, we haven't heard them talk about Impact since probably when they were on Spike TV, when they were getting over 1 million viewers a week, and people forget about that. Like, AEW's on TNT, Impact was on Spike, and they were still getting more viewers than what AEW are getting now. So I think they're going to benefit a lot because they're going to see the rich history they have of all these guys who are AEW stars, let's say, and they got their start in Impact, some of them. So I think this is an interesting time for them. And if I'm Tony Khan, actually, I'm looking at maybe making this a long-term merger where I'm even open to buying ownership, maybe their library, because if you go back to the mid-2000s of just some of the pay-per-view events and some of the stars that have been in there, Aaron included, they have a lot of guys that have been on AEW and back when it was TNA. So I think they should be looking to purchase that whole video library.
All right, Aaron is back here. Do you have any questions for Aaron, Giancarlo? Wait, hold on.
Yeah, I'll go with one.
Hold on. Okay, he could hear it now. Go ahead.
Oh, so, Aaron, you were Jake answering that one. I thought it was a good question too about just how it is to deal with partnerships and all that. Now with United Wrestling Network, when you're making that call to, let's say, MLW or AEW and all these different promotions, is there some pushback a little bit? Like, is there egos involved saying, oh, we need this guy to win in X amount of minutes and stuff like that?
You know what? No, according to me. A lot of that, like in terms of reaching out to different promotions and everything, that's done by Dave Marquez. And, and that's also like individual relationships with the talent and with people in the office there. I pretty much just kind of go and say, like, okay, let's have these matches. And we kind of, I'm more creative in production as far as that goes. I will say that I thought there would be a little bit of pushback, but there wasn't. I mean, everyone's been so cool. And it's funny because it's like for the first time, everyone's getting along. Everyone realizes that, we can all win, I guess, is the best phrase to describe that. And it's just really cool to see it.
So, Aaron, you've been at this now for a month, basically being a booker and helping creative.
No, actually 3 months now.
3 months. Okay.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. Goes by fast.
What now? 3 months, like everybody's like a probation, 3-month probation. What you have learned backstage and booking.
What was that, Joe? I'm sorry.
What you have learned basically from being a wrestler now to booking everything and all that. Did you learn anything? Is there an adjustment now that you're sort of in that role, 3 months in the role already?
To me, you know what? Adaptability and, I always try to kind of use that when I was performing in the ring, kind of be adaptable to what was working. And as a booker, it's the same thing. It's just pretty much like you look at a talent and you say, okay, let's try this. And then if it ain't working or if something else catches on, you just go with it. And that's what I ask the talent to just like, let's be open to stuff and let's do what works. Let's do what you're comfortable with. Let's do what works. And then everyone's happy. So I think, in essence, Joe, like it's not pretty much what I've learned. It's what I'm just applying from what I've learned in my in-ring career. And I've also, I've had the privilege of like working for some of the best minds in the business, Jim Cornette, Paul Heyman, and been trained well without knowing I'm being trained, just kind of being in the locker room and see how they book things and kind of picking their brains and things like that. So, yeah.
Okay, I got 2 questions before I throw it to Xenia here. Number one, Undertaker retires, hopefully for good. Do you have any Undertaker stories?
Yeah, we were in Waco, Texas, getting ready for WrestleMania season. We were about probably, I'd say 2 months out for Mania. And I was scheduled to wrestle Miz. And I'm getting ready to go out through the curtain. And Arn Anderson stops me. He goes, hey, Sandu, change of plans. You're wrestling Dead Man tonight. I went, what? And come with me. I went in the back, and then Undertaker was there, and then we ended up doing a tag. It was me and Wade Barrett versus Undertaker and Sheamus, and that was just a really, really cool thing. It was just a real, like, for the fans there, they weren't expecting anything, and it was just awesome to kind of be a part of that and have that unexpected moment. Like, to this day, every time Wade and we see each other, we reminisce about that.
All right. And final question for me, then we'll pass it around. I know your time's valuable, but everybody's asking me, are you retired?
No, I mean, I'm one half of the NWA tag champions. You know, I mean, I'm still here. I mean, I didn't expect to be, but hey, this is where we're at.
And who's the other half? And where's my tag team title?
J.R. Kratos.
Yeah.
J.R. Kratos. You know what? The less you know about him, the better for me. I take people by surprise.
All right, go ahead, Xenia.
So since I'm here, can we go back to Russia, to the topic of Russia, because your audio cut out when you were answering the question.
Mhm.
So I was going to ask, while you were in Russia, were there any moments where there was some sort of a, cultural misunderstanding or something, or some, fun story, or like, I don't know, an
Yeah.
anecdote?
So my grandmother is or was Lithuanian, and that is very close to Russia, and especially when we're talking years ago. So it was funny because culturally, like I kind of knew what to expect in the sense of, like, I'd been around some Russian people. Via like just the community that my grandmother was living in, because there's a lot of like Slavic, the Polish and Russian, Lithuanian, and so I was like prepared. I was like, oh, okay, cool. This will be fun, and you know what I mean. And it's such a beautiful country, so I'm all excited to go there. And so we get to Moscow, and we're going through customs, and my passport, I look nothing like I do on my passport. I mean, when I say nothing, like it is tough to tell it's me. Clean shaven, hair was completely different. And the lady, she looks at my passport, and I mean, just like this, she just goes, and calls someone over, and I'm going, oh dear God, please. I swear I'm me, and it was luckily straightened out, and it was cool. And the vodka there was awesome. So, and I'll say this, like, hospitality wise, it was amazing. So we were treated very, very well. And it's actually funny because, like, Moscow, it's one of the few countries that I've actually took pictures in, and still have some pictures from Moscow. So.
Okay. And
since you have,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Since you have and know the cultural background, do you by chance know any Russian, as in the language? Nice.
Yeah.
How's the fans to wrestle in Russia?
Very cool. So here was like the one thing where it was me and Cody versus Brodus and Tenzai. And I just remember, like, we did a spot and there was silence, which to me, that's like, I mean, my stomach turns. I'm like, oh no. But then we stopped and looked at the people, and there was that explosion. So it was funny how they were giving us the respect of not yelling during our actual moves, but then after the moves, everyone would pop. So it was cool, and we had some fun with it. But the fans were great.
All right, Giancarlo, because I know Aaron has to go, so go ahead. You're.
I mean, I don't want to, but I'm cool. I'm done for the night, believe it or not.
All right, so I know you want to talk to Giancarlo about karate, Cobra. But go ahead, Giancarlo.
Yeah, just Aaron, your work right now as a heel, second to none. Just want to compliment you on that. What do you enjoy most about that role? Because, like, I know when you were a face in time, like near the end of your WWE tenure, like, we didn't see that intellectual savior character go as a baby face. Was that something that was maybe in the works when you were there?
It was. There were so many sides to the original intellectual savior that I never really got to explore. There was a babyface side to him, and there was a darker side to him. There was definitely like a Hannibal Lecter side. And if you watch like the early stuff, you can see that. And I'm kind of, like that, whether you call it intellectual savior or whatever, like, that's kind of somewhere in my mind, like that little man is there. and it's a matter of like tuning into him and kind of now developing him further. So that's kind of what's happening.
And will you develop when you go back in the ring like that? Or I know you are not going to say it, but how do you like playing the character? Not the Miz Dow, Damian Sandow was a character, but now with you getting a little bit darker, do you enjoy that more?
You know what? It's funny because like I don't play a character. Now, granted, okay, so you don't have me committed. Yes, it's playing a character, but to me, when people ask like, oh, we were having this conversation last night, Joe, like about like the way I held the microphone, which I never said I'm going to hold a mic like that. I was just when cognitively I get to a certain point and I'm like, okay, this is what this character is. I stand differently. I speak differently. I have different posture. I have different mannerisms, and I just kind of let it happen, So I really don't know. Like with Mizdow, I was just supposed to be with Miz. I didn't know I was going to wrestle the Invisible Man. I was bored on Monday Night Raw, and he fell down. I said, I'll try this, and I fell down, and then the rest is just history. So it's just kind of, I see where the moment takes me, and that's something I enjoy.
All right, Xenia.
So just as mentioned, most of your career, or at least as far as I remember, you've been a heel and a great one at that.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm a firm believer that every wrestler, performer, interviewer has their own, perfect fan. Like when you do something, you know how you want the person to react. Mm-hmm. And as a wrestler and as a heel, what do you prefer? Do you like it when fans take kayfabe and run with it and like cheer for faces, boo heels? Or do you like it when the fan is more, analytical and likes to dissect the heel character and maybe even root for you?
That's a super good question. To me, if they're making noise, right, as long as they are reacting, I will take care of the rest, right? If I'm in Memphis, Tennessee, and in Memphis, they tend to cheer for the good guys and boo the bad guys. That is if you're good, because Memphis people, like the funny thing about Memphis, if you're not good, whether you're a heel or a face, like if you're not a good wrestler, like fans in Memphis don't have a lot for you. It's like Philadelphia in a sense, which is it's strange, but like let's take Philadelphia, where Philadelphia they're more apt to cheer the bad guys, like the heels. So as long as a crowd is reacting, I'm comfortable enough where like, okay, this is the direction that the wind is blowing. Let's take it and run with it. So I don't have a preference, but I just don't like silence.
Okay, go ahead. Xenia, anything else?
Yeah, actually, about Russia again. I'm sorry, I keep going back.
Russia, what do you want? Come on.
Because the thing is, I
love time in Russia.
Yeah, the thing is, I vividly remember that. I remember WWE coming to Russia and stuff like that. And I know that your trip probably was pretty brief, but did you get a chance to maybe I don't know, I don't want to say discover because it's a big word, but come in touch with the local wrestling scene? Were you aware of it?
Yeah, and in Moscow, I did. That was one of those cities where I remember waking up and I'm like, I am just going to go for a walk. I'm like, when am I ever going to get a chance to walk around Moscow and just the statues, the buildings? It was so nice and it was so wonderful. And I just remember kind of just taking it in, and that was it was just a really, really cool experience.
So Aaron, that brings me to the question of what's the greatest city you wrestled in?
Oh God. You know what, Joe, I honestly cannot answer that. I've had moments in different cities. God, I mean, honestly, everywhere from Louisville, Kentucky to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, it's like, I can't.
Toronto, come on, Toronto. Your second home.
Are you kidding me? Toronto's awesome. I mean, I tell you what, Toronto, I put Toronto in the same category as New York, Philly, Boston, Chicago. Toronto's one of those cities where look, if you're not good at what you're doing, they're going to let you know about it. And they're just, if you're good though, if you love what you do, the fans will love you back there. That's the Toronto vibe I get. And I have nothing but good memories. I mean, like, one of my best friends is Santino. I'm up there, you know.
Wait, what about me? I'm not your best friend. What's wrong here? What about me? One of my best friends, Santino. You're talking to Joe. You don't even say it.
Well, we're family. How's that? We're better.
Okay, we're family. Okay, you still owe me $20. All right, yeah. Giancarlo, go ahead. American, not Canadian. Go ahead, Giancarlo.
Yeah, just even on that topic of being a heel, like I remember at that show when you were wrestling on Santino's Battle Art show, and you just ran down the crowd talking about troglodytes at the grocery store, and
yes, well, the grocery story was the truth. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say who used their own son as. No, I'm not kidding. That was.
Do you take like the whole day to run down material, or does that just come out spur of the moment when you're in the ring?
No, that was spur of the moment. That was that was completely. I got in there. I'm like, all right, let's just listen to him and we'll see.
So, like Xenia said, you're also a movie star. You want any?
I'm not a movie star. No, I.
All right, you have done movies. You're a movie star. I say we're family. You're a movie star. Okay, come on. So
up and coming actor. How about we say that?
Okay, you're an up and coming actor for Giancarlo. Yeah. You're a movie star for me. So anything you want to reveal about new movie coming out maybe in 2021, early 2021?
No, I mean it's funny because when I did the last major thing I did was Magnum, and then that was last year, and then pandemic. So it's been really, really slow. I've done a couple indie movies out here. But then that's been so I did the NBC show. I did the AP Bio thing, but it's been the last couple of months have just been dry. Now it's just starting to pick back up. So I'm hoping to kind of like 2021, it'll gear up.
So I'm going to ask Xenia. Xenia, are you a fan of Cobra Kai?
No. I mean.
Okay, so Giancarlo gets on a show here. Giancarlo gets 60 seconds to ask Aaron and him or talk Cobra Kai and all that. So your 60 seconds, Giancarlo, begins now. Go ahead, ask Cobra Kai with Aaron and Steven. Go ahead.
Any update from any of the cast?
No, but I tell you what, we're going to Okinawa in season 3. Season 3 is out next month, and I will be watching.
And you think that they're going to bring back Ali into the mix over there?
And I hope so. Oh, God, I hope so. Yeah, and you know what? Like that show, they have checked all the boxes, and they have hit a grand slam time after time. So I'm going to say yes.
And the final one I'm thinking of, Terry Silver. How would you reintroduce him?
You have to have Terry Silver there. Yes. Absolutely.
So Aaron, I just found this out this week. And I know Giancarlo for 5-6 years. He's like a brother to me, right? Do you know he's a skateboarder?
Oh,
you know what?
Yeah, Tony Hawk.
Don't even go there with me. And all I'm saying.
Any advice for him? He's a skateboarder.
Talk to Ryan Nemeth.
That's Dolph Ziggler's brother, by the way, for people who are watching and listening. Xenia, any other questions for Aaron?
Talking about your acting career, we know that wrestling is this, exaggerated world where everything is maybe a little bit black and white, and everything's, you're acting for the back row, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Have you find it difficult?
So smart. Wow, you are a 5-star reporter now as far as wrestling goes. That is so. That is a perfect. And
Aaron, she's got the job already. Come on, you don't have to blow her up.
Hit me up.
Yeah. But like I've told people that, like when you're a wrestler, right? I mean, like, all right, if you look at my eyes are the size of cantaloupes. So when I go like this, that's for people in the last row of the Staples Center or the Garden or whatever. That you have to act for the last row, 100%. So just 2 thumbs up. And I'm sorry to interrupt.
What I was saying is, I've talked to several wrestlers who have transitioned or want to transition to acting, including Wade Barrett. And he says that it was a bit of a challenge to transition to acting, where you don't really act for the back row, where you act for the camera that's in front of your face.
Yeah.
Have you
We're
faced
like,
this kind of difficulty?
so close, you don't have to do as much. So you just have to think something, and your face will kind of follow suit.
Is it harder, or is it more, is it easier?
You know what it was? It was like, to me, and it, again, just like wrestling, it's a craft that you always work on. But it was once I kind of got once I got the feel of it, it was cool. It was just a different. It's like when you play basketball and then you play football, right? They're just two different sports. So to me, I equate acting and pro wrestling like that, right? It's just, you know where you're at, and you kind of just go from there and dictate whatever. And again, subtlety is much more emphasized. I know that sounds like a contradictory statement, but in acting, it's it's key.
I get it.
Go ahead. Anything else, Zinga?
Me?
Yeah.
Your sound
Anything
cut off
else?
for a little.
Okay.
Yeah, regarding movies as well. I know that as a wrestler, not many wrestlers like the word character, but you do find your character in a way. But I feel like it is similar with movies, and you have this, type of character that you'd like to play. Is there some, type of hero, or like an action movie hero, or like maybe horror movie or something that you would love to do in your career?
I would love to play kind of like a Van Helsing type. I'm kind of stuff. Like Van Helsing, I'll say like, and I know it's a different movie altogether, but like a Da Vinci Code kind of stuff. Like that's kind of close to who I am in real life. Like have you guys seen the New Pope with John Malkovich and Jude Law? Yeah, that is kind of like where at the core, like stuff like that, I absolutely love, where it's it's historical, but fiction. You know what I mean? Like you can embellish. And I know Van Helsing is completely fiction, but the thing of like it's rooted in somewhat of a truth or a tradition, whether it's your Vlad the Impaler from Romania, or your Vatican stuff, and like one of the things I've done, like I am a huge fan of the like the history of the papacy, and things like that, and so yeah, that's just kind of my thing.
Okay, and so we're just about 3 weeks away from Christmas, right? But because of COVID and all that, give me this. I don't know if anybody has asked you this. So here you're watching this strictly on the Barn Burner TV network, channel 250. Here we go. What's your Christmas tradition?
Pretty much, everyone has always gone over my mom's house on Christmas Eve, and I have a very big family, so we've all done that, and then we would go to my grandmother's Christmas Day. Now we go to my aunt's on Christmas Day, and that's just kind of it. That's it's not like, usually if I'm home, I'm in the woods, snowmobiling, shooting guns, burning things. Like when I say I'm not burning, we're burning like wood and pallets and things like that in the woods, having a party. So that's kind of who I am. Yeah.
Do you miss the snow because you're in Malibu? For people who don't know,
I do not miss the snow. When I go home, it will be awesome. I will ride snowmobiles. I will build snowmen with my little niece, and everything will be great. And then I'll get on a plane. I'll come back.
Okay, Giancarlo, Eddie, go ahead.
Just even on the topic of acting, like a lot of wrestlers that have gone into acting, you notice that some of them have maybe been typecast. Like, have you felt that at all?
Not really. No. I mean, I've in the limited things that I've done, like I've done everything from a like weather reporter from the 40s to an axe murderer from Hawaii. So I've been okay.
Who has been your favorite actor or actress? Let's say actor, actress, both, one male.
This is going back. I'm a big Spencer Tracy fan.
Okay.
Big Spencer Tracy fan. Yeah.
And an actress?
I'm going to say Sharon Stone.
What's your favorite movie of Sharon Stone?
God, everything. I mean, she's one of those when you can forget that it is a famous person playing the role, you know what I mean? And you can lose yourself in the role. That to me, right? It's and I know I answer a lot of questions like this, Joe. Like when you say, "Oh, what's your favorite match?" I give answers like this, but it's true. I mean, I firmly believe it. And it's the same thing with this question, where when you can just lose yourself and just watch the movie and appreciate who the actors are playing versus the actors themselves playing the character, that to me is when like the magic happens, and that is to me that's the coolest thing. And I find that with Sharon Stone quite a bit.
I got a question from right now from your good friend Steve Carney in Tampa.
Yeah.
Ask Aaron what's the greatest Christmas present he got and he gave. First of all, the greatest Christmas present you ever gave, you haven't given because I haven't received it. So
yeah,
that's number one.
I would say like the Red Ryder carbine action BB gun in a stock which tells time or something like that from a Christmas Story.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Xenia.
Going back to acting again, I keep comparing wrestling to acting because a lot of people say that it's similar and even insinuate that there should be like a union that would include both wrestlers and actors, with which I fundamentally disagree, but it's a whole other topic. But do you feel like in acting, as opposed to wrestling, where you're basically your own number one agent / advocate / PR person, do you feel like it's harder to promote yourself in acting?
You know, it's so funny because there's so many. Acting is a much bigger business than wrestling, where, you know, wrestling, okay, you have WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, Impact, and you have a few major promotions. No, I think it's actually easier. You just have to get in with the right people, you know? So, and I know you said with the unions, and I'll say this, I am not for unions in wrestling. And here's why. Because if you unionized, think about this. Where would you draw the line? Would it just be WWE and AEW? Because the money it takes to make a union, and God, there's so much to it. Like, what about Impact? What about Ring of Honor? You know, what about the indie promotions that would be like, hey, wait a minute, we're just used to paying, you know, $100, $200 cash to and put on a good show. It would hurt the wrestling business, in my opinion, 100%. Now, do I think that they should be classified as independent contractors the way WWE does? No. Obviously, and again, I'm not going to bash WWE, but how they treat their employees, you know, we've seen how they treated their employees at the beginning of the pandemic. And, you know, the taking over the social media, that's wrong. And it's wrong. And that should not happen. So I think, again, it should be the middle ground. Either you let them be independent contractors, truly be independent contractors, and everything's fine, or start treating them like employees. But then as far as the union goes, no, because that will hurt the business overall. And that's my opinion.
It's really interesting that you say this, because I feel like in the wrestling business, unlike any other business, unlike any other type of entertainment, there's this huge gap between being an indie wrestler and a wrestler with a contract in the huge company. And no one really knows what this person earns, but then the whole world knows what this person earns. And there's this huge, you know, this huge distinction. I know I personally have been saying that the indies have been on the rise, like they have been, you know, kind of developing. But do you feel like this gap will ever be narrower, or is it just, you know, our destiny that we must accept and live with it?
No, you know, that I don't know. I mean, I know like in the indies, it's definitely paying your dues and you kind of learn. And then if you're good and you work hard and things kind of line up the right way, you have the opportunity to make more money. So that's kind of it. I mean, and again, barring any major changes, I can't see that changing.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you're an actor, say there are certain, of course, A-listers, world famous actors, but there's like a handful of them, like what, 30, 40 actors that you can name off the top of your head. Yeah. And then there are, you know, actors that can make a living without being that world famous person. But in wrestling, I recently had the conversation and someone asked me like, I don't know, a booking fee of a certain wrestler, not gonna name drop anyone, and I named, the price, and the person went like, what's the point then of working like that? And I was like, oh, the whole point is making it. The whole point is, the opportunity of getting signed. So that's why it's not really a question. It's just, that I really understand what you're talking about here. It's a strange business. That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, Aaron, that brings me up to here's something I never asked you. Take me through negotiating a contract in wrestling as opposed to negotiating a contract through, let's say, making a movie or whatever.
Well, with acting, they make you an offer. And with wrestling, they make you an offer. But pretty much like it was with WWE, I mean, you make your downside, and then the more you work, the more you make. I thought it was a very fair way to do it, honestly. It guaranteed the superstars X amount of dollars. And, if you were on the road more, you're going to get paid more. And it was, that theory is very good. And that's what I'll say. And I am at like 5% battery on my phone right now. I just realized that the blink was going off.
We'll let you go, but tell everybody how to get a hold of you, Aaron, because I know
you can
all the rush are going to be all over you now. Come on.
Okay. You can follow me on Instagram at The Aaron Files. That's THEARON Files, or on Twitter at Aaron's Thoughts, ARONS Thoughts.
All right. And Zena, any final thoughts to Aaron?
Yeah, just thank you for sharing your experience, I guess. And it's really interesting for me personally how the transitions from a certain business as wrestling come to the other. So I think that would be really cool for the viewers to hear too.
Well, thank you. I appreciate everything. You did awesome. And again, 5 stars in my opinion, because working for the last row, that's exactly what you do.
Hey, and wait, hold on. 5 stars. What do you give Giancarlo?
Well, 10.
10. See?
Oh, wow.
All right, Aaron. Nice talking to you, and we'll be in touch soon. Hopefully, you save your battery there. But that's Aaron Stevens, a very big addition. We'll get back. Got 10 minutes left before the end of the show here. Giancarlo Zena, the newest person. We're going to talk about what's coming up with Barn Burner, but there's a pay-per-view. I don't know if you guys know it. There's a pay-per-view this Sunday. War Games, NXT War Games. First, I'll start with you, Xenia. Are you excited for War Games? 2 War Games. But my question is, the Performance Center, or whatever they're calling it now, it's so small. How are they going to put 2 cages, 2 rings, all in that small place?
Well, first of all, yes, I'm excited. Second of all, it's WWE. They'll figure it out. I don't think we have to worry. Like, it's going to be fine. And we've heard recently from, the insiders or whatever, that Triple H said that he's very happy with the build-up towards War Games. And I agree and disagree simultaneously, because on the one hand, yes, it has been great. We saw this new stable form with the return of Pete Dunne, which was really, really fun. But then on the other hand, I personally got so swamped with all the things happening with AEW. As Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful put it, it was the most newsworthy episode of Dynamite ever. So to me, that kind of smudged this anticipation of War Games.
All right, so we'll get to the War Games preview right now. Giancarlo, let's talk about the main event, okay? What am I going to say? The Undisputed Era, where I'm going to say Pete Dunne, Pat McAfee wrestling again. He's a great Paul Heyman. He knows on the stick. He can talk as good as me. I'm better looking, though. But who's your pick? Who's your pick for that main event match of War Games?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Team McAfee on this. I think this is where he gets the redemption. I just don't see, like, the whole thing with War Games, and I hope they don't go overboard with this one, like the last 2, where you have to have, like, 10 table spots, a Canadian Destroyer in between the rope and the ring. So, like, keep the spots at a minimum. Like, there's only virtual fans in there, so you don't have to, like, jump off walls and stuff. So, I'm sure they're going to have a great match, but if they just tone it down, they can still tell the same story and have a nice outcome what they want. But I'm going to go with Team McAfee. All
right. What do you say, Xenia?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Team McAfee too. That would be a logical conclusion. And also, like, isn't Pat McAfee, like, surprisingly good in the ring? Like, he's not supposed to be this good, but he just strikes me as someone who's natural. So I'd love to see more of him in the ring. And this whole stable, so far has been giving me an impression of a very, powerful group, a very powerful presence. And losing right now would not be the right thing to build it up further, in my personal opinion.
Okay, and now I'll start off with you. The ladies' war game match. Okay, and the fourth lady was revealed yesterday on NXT. It's the ladies' champion. Okay, the fourth lady there. Who do you think's going to win that bout?
I'm honestly not sure. Like, I cannot make a prediction right now. But what I know for sure, and what I have noticed recently, is somehow in WWE, both in the main rosters and in NXT, the women's gimmicky matches have been consistently better than the men's ones. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
All right, Giancarlo.
Yeah, can you just remind me who the other participants are? I didn't really see who. I saw the unveiling because I was watching AEW.
Okay,
But
it's team Candice LeRae with
yeah,
Rico Gonzalez, Dakota, and who's the other one?
Tony Storm. Was that the one Tony Storm's apart? Yeah.
Rhea Ripley, Ember Moon, Io Shirai also. So the faces against the heels. So there's the match, Giancarlo.
I'm going to go with Dakota Kai getting the win here. It might be surprising just the way they've been building the women's division, but I think that they still do have high hopes for her, where she could be someone that they rely on long term. You look at Rhea Ripley, she got the spot at WrestleMania. Tony Storm probably will eventually get there. Io Shirai should be on the main roster in the next year. So I think Dakota Kai is going to be the one that they're going to build around for the next year going into WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and I think they have her being as another women's champion that will eventually make it big on the main roster in like 2 to 3 years.
All right, strap match. Okay, strap match. Dexter Loomis, okay, against Grimes. Giancarlo, you'll start us off.
Yeah, with too many gimmicky matches on the event, like I would be against it because then people are going to think it's Extreme Rules. So like this would have been perfect if they had it as a main event for an NXT, but I'm still going to go with Grimes getting the win here. What it will lead to is going to be the question there. You're going to have to maybe follow up what happens in the War Games match. Maybe whoever loses that, maybe if Pat McAfee's team does not win that, he'll turn his attention over to another guy on the roster, but I'm going to go with Grimes on this.
Zania.
I really don't feel like that would be, too many gimmicky matches. I feel like it fits right in, and it was, well, at least for me, a pretty big feud, and having it end just on a weekly wouldn't, do it for me. As to who would win, I am a bit biased here because I'm a huge fan of Dexter Loomis, formerly known as Samuel Show, since, the TNA years. I really, really like this guy. I feel like he has the it factor. So I will be rooting for him. So not to jinx it, I'm not going to make my pick just yet.
All right. And the final match, three-way dance, North American title. So that means the North American title cannot be seen in Russia. Okay. So it's North American title. Okay. Ruff against Johnny Gargano and Priest there. Zania, you'll start us off.
Yeah, the North American title has been a roller coaster lately, to say the least. And I don't know, maybe just, me not being able to fully commit to that storyline or to fully believe that Leon Ruff is getting this big push. But I do feel like he's not gonna win this one. I'm pretty certain. That's as much as I can say for now. Yeah.
Okay, Giancarlo.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, just even to add to that, I think they may have a singles feud with Gargano and him going towards a Royal Rumble NXT takeover. So I'd like to see Damian Priest win because even going back to In Your House, that pay-per-view when he won it, I thought that was a perfect time. Like, he was a guy on NXT that was floundering a little bit. They weren't really doing too much with him. And at his age, like pushing 40, I think is a time now they have to push him and see what they got out of him. So I'd like to see Damian Priest walk out the champion and continue building momentum on NXT.
All right, we got 1 minute here or 4 minutes. So Zania, you're joining the Barn Burner TV network, also the H.E.R network, ZINGOTV channel 250, 251. Here, what can people expect from your new show?
Yes, I'm gonna debut my show very soon, and this show is gonna be dedicated to the issues that women face in the world of professional wrestling. So we're gonna give you guys, you the viewers, a series that will go over certain issues that will feature guests that you know and love, wrestlers, personalities. So I'm really excited to show you guys further this world of being a woman in wrestling, and I guess it's not talked about enough. So I'm really excited to bring it to the table.
And just for Giancarlo and everybody watching here and listening on the Barn Burner Network, tell the people who are some of the wrestlers you already have interviewed.
I've interviewed Wade Barrett, BJ Black, Cameron Solis, certain local wrestlers. I've interviewed wrestlers from India, from Russia, from Romania. I've also had Joey Ryan before this whole thing happened. You know,
Let's
I had
talk about him, okay? So that's it.
yeah, I had a really fun interview with Nick Gage where he told the story of how he almost died, which was fun is not the word, which was interesting, and many more. I've interviewed over 20 wrestlers, I think, throughout my 2-year career as a wrestling journalist.
So, and Giancarlo has just texted me, okay? Your sweater says Babe Squad. He wants to know, he wants to know how to get on the Babe Squad. He just texted me, Giancarlo, come on. Can't you answer that?
Must have been another Giancarlo. I don't know who texted me that.
And can you answer that, Xenia, or no?
Yeah, the Babe Squad is invitation only. So we'll recruit you once we think the time is right, Giancarlo. Please, stay tuned.
All right, Xenia, start us off to tell everybody how they get a hold of you social media wise.
You can find me on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Ksenia did that with an X. And I have that same username, Ksenia did that, on Twitter, where I share my weird wrestling opinions, on Instagram, where I have a lifestyle blog, and pretty much everywhere else. Interviews, unboxings, think pieces, you name it. Join the fun.
All right, and we can't wait for to watch your show here on the Barn Burner TV network, her network also. Giancarlo, you'll close it out. Tell everybody how they get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at John_411, Instagram at Giancarlo_Alino. Check me out tomorrow with Carmen Asako, who I'm continuing to promote as the true candidate to be Toronto FC's new coach. John Nelson of OSG Sports in Atlanta, and check me out, Vibe 105, 5 FM here in Toronto. My interview with John Molinaro, we talk about the career and legacy of Diego Maradona, so check that out.
All right, and remember, we'll be back here for the flagship show of the Barn Burner TV network, Barn Burner Live, in just about 5 minutes. We've got a spectacular show. Thanks, Xenia and Giancarlo, and thank you, Aaron Stevens. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.